Hello everyone, this is Warhawk Beyond 2040 and welcome to another edition of the Jazz Albums Review Series. And today I am going to be taking a look at another 2023 release, this time from legendary pianist Keith Jarrett. And this is his newest recording for the ECM New Series label, which is a double album, Phillipp Emaneul Bach. So, as I mentioned, this is a double album by Keith Jarrett, and it's a solo piano recording, and it's for the ECM New Series label, which focuses and concentrates more on classical and chamber music. And anybody who has followed Keith Jarrett's legendary career, we all know that Keith Jarrett is no stranger to releasing solo piano recordings, as he has got a ton of them under his belt. Some are very iconic, especially one in particular, which quite frankly needs no introduction whatsoever. I'm talking about, of course, the Cone Concerts. And this album is very different because although it is a new Keith Jarrett album, it's actually an unreleased recording from the man himself, which dates all the way back to 1994, which was almost 30 years ago now, or 29 years ago to be precise. And Manfred Eicher, the head of ECM, discovered these unreleased recordings, and with Keith Jarrett's blessing and permission, those recordings have now seen the light of day, and what we have here in our hand is those recordings, which is a double album. So this album by Keith Jarrett features no originals whatsoever. It's all compositions by Bach, and there's sonatas as well, and it's a lovely album, as you would expect from the true master of the piano, Keith Jarrett, and the production and the sound quality, as you'd expect from ECM or the ECM New Series, absolute top notch. It's a fantastic album, and I've always said that this is where Keith Jarrett is at his absolute best. Just him and his piano, with the man himself doing what he does best, and that's deliver quality playing and world class music. So let's have a look. So, as I said, these are two discs, which make it a double album. And there we are. And of course, Keith Jarrett is listed and credited as the only musician on this album. And a lot of the tracks, you can see here, spread out on two discs, are quite relatively short pieces. So we got tracks 1 to 3, Sonata 1 in A minor. So we got Moderato, Andante, Allegro, Assai, and then we got tracks 4 to 6, Sonata 2 in A flat major, Un poco, Allegro, Adagio, and Allegro, and then Sonata 3 in E minor, tracks 7 to 9 is Allegro, Adagio, and Avaci. And then on disc 2, we've got tracks 1 to 3, which is Sonata 4 in B flat major, Un poco, Allegro, Andante, and Allegro. And then tracks 4 to 6, Sonata 5 in E flat major, Allegro, Adagio, Allegro Assai. And then tracks 7 to 9, Sonata 6 in B minor, Moderato, Adagio non molto, and Allegro. So a lot of the tracks here, as I said, they're all relatively short pieces. Some are 3 minutes, some are 6 minutes, some are 5 minutes, and the longest tracks on there, they're like 7 minutes long. So, there's quite relatively normal length tracks. Some are very short, as I said, but, they're all quite fairly normal length tracks, really. And there's some notes from Jarrett referring to the son and the father. So it's just like a little story about the son and the father. And as you can see there, and there's some more as well. So it's like a little story in a way about the instruments. And there's some more notes here, and the notes were provided by Paul Griffiths. And there's a nice picture of the man himself, which I guessed is taken from the sessions of when this album was made. And there's the production notes as well. And as I said, this is not actually a new Keith Jarrett recording like recorded now. This was actually recorded back in 1994, and this is the first time that it's actually been officially released. So it's a nice little treat for all Keith Jarrett fans, to hear and listen to. So it's really, really good. So the standout tracks for me on disc one is Moderato, Allegro, and Adagio. And on disc two is Un Poco Allegro and Allegro Assai and Adagio non molto. So it's a bit of a different thing here. It's not those are the tracks that are my favourites, but as I said, it's one of those albums you have to really listen to completely in its entirety to fully appreciate what Keith Jarrett does here. But it's a lovely album, and I love all of Keith Jarrett's classical stuff. They're all great, and for me, Keith Jarrett has done no bad album as far as I'm concerned. They're all good. And the classical stuff is definitely worth checking out if you're looking to get into more of Keith Jarrett's more intimate and orchestral side to his playing and his musical persona. But this is a very good album. Highly recommend you check it out. It's available on the ECM New Series label, which is a classical slash chamber label, and they concentrate more on orchestral music. But it's a lovely album and worth checking out. So there you have it. Keith Jarrett's Phillipp Emaneul Bach, a double solo piano recording. Excellent stuff here. So that's going to be it from me. I'm going to wrap this up now. What's your favourite disc on Keith Jarrett's Phillipp Emaneul Bach? Is it disc one or is it disc two? Or do you enjoy listening to the entire album? There's no right or wrong answer. We all have our favourite tracks. You know what to do, guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave your thoughts and comments down below. And I will see all of you next time for another edition of the Jazz Albums Review Series. So until next time, take care, everybody, and stay safe. And once again, as always, much appreciated. Thanks for listening.